Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So in Alliance Insight we got revealed more cards for the Simple Spells archetype. I think this is going to be the end of the Simple Spells era. If not, we're getting damn near close to the epilogue. I actually was not expecting so many cards to be revealed for this team. But yeah, let's just talk about them. Before we talk about the new Simple Spells cards and the new cards from the era, I just wanted to revisit things that we've gotten so far and the performance of White Forest as a whole. The reason I want to bring up White Forest and the reason I want to bring up like the Simple Spells in general is because the theme and the way the deck is constructed will be played drastically different in the TCG than in the OCG. In the TCG, the Diabellstar, the Black Witch, and Wanted are still limited, while in the OCG, these two cards are limited. The one big difference is that original Simple Spell Snake Eye is gone from in the TCG, while in the OCG, that card is still around, which means the Snake Eye version is the best version of White Forest that is played in the OCG, but that version is unplayable in the TCG. What does that mean for the new support? The new support that we are going to get has to make White Forest as viable and as powerful as it can be without relying on Snake Eyes. So far, so by the time of this recording, Supreme Darkness has not debuted in the TCG yet, but there are still a good amount of cards that we're getting there that might actually do something involving the White Forest team. Like Azamina Elset is a really strong card that bridges Azamina engine with White Forest. Saint Azamina is a very strong boss monster that can just shut down some key plays from your opponent. We have a few Diabell spell and traps that just work with Diabellstar theme in itself. And we gotten a few White Forest cards that just really aid the theme in general. What do I think about those cards as a whole before diving into the new cards? I think those cards are okay at best. They're not the greatest. However, I think when it comes to this year in 2025, Konami is trying to play it safe with a lot of cards in terms of their design. They realized the Snake Eyes just was very, very powerful in the TCG and in the OCG, and they just need to make sure that the card quality behind these cards are not to that level, at least this year. And you're going to see that with a few cards. Okay, so let's begin. You see here how we have Stellar and we have Diabellstar, and then you have Elset, which also ties in with Azamina Elset and Diabellze. Well, Konami's not done. They're giving us two new versions of each Elset and Stellar. Let's start with Diabellstar, the Sin Adjudicator. So this card reads, this card is always treated as a Simple Spells card. This is not new. We've already saw that with Queen of the Azamina. You can banish one spell and one trap from your hand and or graveyard to special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. You can pay half your life points, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Then if another Diabell monster card is on the field, you can special summon one illusion or spellcaster's tuner synchro monster from your extra deck. This is a really, really good card. Let's start with just talking about the card in general. Diabellstar Sin Adjudicator is a generic level 8 monster extender with 2500 attack. And it's also a Dark Fiend monster. That is a really big deal. This card can be played in a lot of decks. Like, not just in simple spoils variants. This card can be played like in any mill deck, for example. Let's say, for example, you're playing Tearlaments or Lightsworn. You can play this card in your deck, and this just becomes a free monster you can summon from the graveyard. This also being a Dark Fiend means it works with Chimera, it works with Life Twins, it works with like Fiendsmith, it works with like just a lot of things. Like Labyrinth and Unchained can play this card. In Labyrinth, it's very easy to summon this card because you just have a bunch of trap cards that end up in your graveyard. Not so much spell cards, but you can circumvent that. So, like, outside of a simple spoils perspective, this card is just really good generically. Heck, I would play this in a deck like Pump and our Orchest as well. You can even play this in Malice. Yeah, like, as a splashable card, this card is really good. Having 2500 attack also means that you can pair this with the Regenesis monsters. So, another really big upside to this card. I think this is like one of the best cards like printed this year, just because of the utility alone. Now let's go with the actual effect. Paying half your life points to destroy a card you control as a quick effect also is really good. This can out Floodgates, this can out other problematic cards. This just serves as a really good card going second. Now let's talk about the last effect. If another Diabellze monster card is on the field, at least the last part of the effect, you can spell summon one illusion or spell cast a tuner Synchro monster for your deck. You're probably gonna summon Diabell with this. But actually Diabell is not a tuner, so it has to be Arceala and Silvera. Yeah, this is really good. This is really, really good. Like, being able to just spawn out Arceala and like Silvera, like as part of your quick effect when it's the resolves, is another really big upside. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this card. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10 even. It's probably one of my favorite cards in the Alliance Insight as of now, at the time of this recording. Let's talk about Diabellze, the White Witch. This card is always treated as a White Forest card. That's really good. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn each. You can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. Okay. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one Sinful Spoils or Diabell card from your deck to the graveyard. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control 2 or more Diabell monsters. Okay, so another really good card. This is another free agent card. You can also summon this in almost any deck. Just send the Astral Trap to just summon this card as a extender. Also really good. The fact that this card can dump the Diabell just gives it infinite more value. 2500 attack. Also, again, we need to talk about Regenesis. That's going to be a very good engine. So this card can also work with them. This being an illusion monster means it works perfectly in Chimera. This card is searchable with Nightmare Apprentice. So now Nightmare Apprentice can be part of an engine involving this card and Diabellze. And just sending a spell trap to a graveyard is super easy. Whatever spell trap you're sending off of that bell, the White Wish, can be used to just summon Diabellstar, the Sin Adjudicator. And this gives the Sin Adjudicator the extra effect to summon from your extra deck. So yeah, I think I think depending on the card quality behind the other White Forest cards, I can see this card actually being played as an engine or as its own standalone like sub-engine in other decks, similar to Bestials. Yeah, really good card. Okay, so that's it for monsters from the main deck. We do have some extra deck monsters. Let's start with Mystic Mystery of the White Forest. So this is an level 4 illusion synchro tuner, so it can be someone with Diabellstar. If this card is special summon, you can target 2 White Forest monsters in your graveyard, place them in the spell and trap zones. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can activate this effect. Immediately after Zeus resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. So, really good card. As far as generic synchro tuners go, this card is pretty much Crystron Quandax, for those who remember that card. If you don't, then you will see that card in the future. Crystron is actually a really good deck. So going back to Mystic Mystery, this is basically just a synchro tuner that allows you to synchro your opponent's turn, and putting back 2 White Forest monsters does not seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal if you, in the context of other cards that we will see. Not only that, it basically serves as fodder for other White Forest cards. So, like, card quality wise, this card is really good. Being a level 4 tuner means it's not super easily summoned in the White Forest team, unless you do something like Synchro LZ with like the other White Forest cards, but none of them are tuners, so yeah. None of the level 2s are tuners. This card's really good. You're basically just gonna summon this with either Diabell or with Diabellstar. Most likely. And if you look at their levels, you're looking at 4 plus 8. We did get a generic level 12 synchro. So this is Snake Eyes Execute Dragon. Let's read. Generic, really good. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field or in the graveyard. Place it face-up in its own spell trap zone as a continuous spell. Also, this card cannot use this effect the next turn. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can target 2 cards on the field, 1 monster and 1 continuous spell. Destroy them. Okay, so this is basically Flamberge Dragon, but instead of spawning a monster, it destroys in the battle phase. Really good card. 2500 defense. This is relevant for Regenesis. Every time I see 2500, I'm just going to bring that up. Like, that's going to be the future. Like, I can see. Yeah, really good synchro. And this is not just tied to like the Azamina White Forest deck. This can be played in like Centur-ion, for example, or decks with branded stuff like that. Yeah, really good card. I really like it. Let's go with the last extra monster. We are talking about Azamina. So yeah, Azamina, it's its own monster. Even though we have Queen of the Azamina and Saint Azamina. The fusion materials are Queen of the Azamina and 1 fusion or synchro monster. Take note, this is an Azamina monster, so you can summon it with Deception. Just be mindful that it is level 12, so you're using 3 simple spoils in order to summon it, if you are going to summon it that way. Monster are going to be fusion summon or special summon from the aftermath by tributing Saint Azamina you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. That's a really big deal because Saint Azamina can fusion summon on your opponent's turn. Going back to it, cannot be destroyed by card effects. Each time your opponent activates a card effect or monster your opponent controls, lose 500. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with 0 attack. Rest in peace, Diabell. Not that card. Not the best effect. I don't think this monster as a boss monster is all that good. However, in the context of Saint Azamina and the way you're going to summon this card is really good. And funnily enough, this card actually is a counter to White Forest because all these monsters have 0 attack, so it will negate, it will stop the White Forest opponent from activating all these monsters. So ironically, it's good against its own archetype. Every time your opponent activating a card, losing 500, this can go rapidly. So this can easily just drop your opponent's monsters to like abyssal numbers, maybe even the actual 0. So yeah, Azamina, okay card. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of Azamina, like the concept. I think this will stop being a deception into Ilya Silva deck or strategy. Well, I digress. So, we have 3 more new cards over here. We have a new Sinful Spoils and 2 Diabell cards. Let's go with Sinful Spoils first. So this is Sinless Sinful Spoils. You can only use this effect once per turn. This effect being choosing one of these effects. Target 1 Diabell monster in your graveyard or banishment. Discard 1 card, and if you do, special summon that monster. Target 1 face-up monster card in your spawn trap zone, special summon it. Very simple card, really good. I really like it. This card works really well with the Mystic Mystery. This card also works with Snake Eye Diabellstar, Snake Eye Poplar, all those cards that just put monsters in spell trap zones. Take note, it says 1 monster card in your spell trap zone. It doesn't specify continuous spell or equip spell or continuous trap or normal trap, any of that. So you can summon Centur-ions with this, you can summon Fiendsmith with this, you can summon stuff that you spawn with the Execute Dragon with this card. So the utility behind this card is way bigger than it's actually like recognized. Targeting a Diabell monster in your graveyard banishment, also really good. This also the fact that this can summon from banishment is a big deal because Diabellstar is a dark monster, which means it's going to be the target for bestials. It also means that you can use your own bestials to banish this and then just resummon it with this. So yeah, really good card. Don't know if it's gonna be a staple, but at least in the context of what it is for a Simple Spoils card, really good. Critical Diabell. First and second effect was third for turn. First effect, if you control 2 or more Diabell monsters, send 1 monster you control to the graveyard, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard or banished from the hand or deck, you can add 1 Diabell spell or trap for your deck to your hand. We do have 1 more Diabell card, which we'll get into, but in the context of what this card does, it's really good. Prior to this card, which we will talk about, there are no real good Diabell spell traps. However, the fact that this can serve as fodder for like Diabell the Dark Witch, your White Forest monsters, like just in general, like you can send this card with like Foolish Burial Goods, and this could essentially become a starter or an extender. Also really good. Controlling 2 Diabell monsters is not hard at all. Again, we go back to what I was explaining, how you can use Diabellstar and Diabellze just as a sub-engine. So the activation condition of this card to blow up everything it's not really that hard. So, really good card. Okay, last card. At least that last Diabell card. Filia's Diabell. So you can only use the first and second effect of this card will be 1 per turn each. Add 1 level 8 or higher Diabell monster from your deck to your hand. Or if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon it instead. Okay. If this card becomes banished, you can make all Diabell monsters you currently control gain 500 attack. Amazing card. Amazing. Remember what I said about this being a sub-engine? Now you have a consistency card for this sub-engine as well. So yeah, this is really good. Now you have an actual playable sub-engine that is really, really good, that can go first and second, and it actually has consistency. Yeah, really good card. Okay, so we have one more card we need to talk about. And that card is Witches of the White Forest. When this card is activated, you can add 1 White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, you cannot special summon dark monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. The first time each of your White Forest monsters would be destroyed each turn, it is not destroyed. You can target 1 White Forest monster you control. It is treated as a tutor this turn. You can only use this effect of Wishes of the White Forest once per turn. You can only activate 1 Wish of the White Forest per turn. Okay. Really good card. So, I really like the balance behind this card. This card was 1 restriction away from being an FTK. If this restriction was not in here, this card would have been a 1-card FTK. And if you want to know how, I can explain it in the future in another video. Just subscribe to the channel and write it in the comments that you want to see the possible FTK if this restriction was not in here. White Forest monster, really good for White Forest in general. Not being able to summon dark monsters from the extra for the rest of the turn is not a big deal. It does mean that you have to be careful with your Azamina engine, because Azamina is paired with White Forest. It also means you have to summon your Azamina monsters before this. Take note, this only locks you to dark monsters from the extra deck. You can still summon Diabellstar, you can still summon Diabell, you can still play other cards alongside this. So yeah, really good card. The fact that it can turn a White Forest into a tutor is also really cool. Reminder that Diabellze is a White Forest card, so you can. So this is basically another starter for the sub engine with Diabell, with the Diabell monsters. Yeah, this is really good. And for those wondering, are there any applications that where you can summon dark monsters from the extra deck, and because you're locked out of something like Chaos Angel, for example? Reminder, this is a quick synchro on your opponent's turn, and this can spawn it out. This can spawn it out. You have many ways to synchro on your opponent's turn, so you don't have to worry about that dark restriction at all. Yeah, that's it for White Forest. I think I'm done talking about all these cards. I'd say keep an eye out for this. I'll probably make more videos of this very soon. I'm really liking Alliance Insight. This is definitely going to be a game-changing set. I'm excited for national season in 2025. because these will come out in the TCG in May. So we will see these cards very soon. Yeah, that's it for me. Keep practicing and keep dueling. Also, notice how it ends in 25 minutes. Yeah.